Hi, my name's Nathan. I work for MIFSA and I live with a mental illness. And you know what? I'm not alone. 1 in 5 Australians will be affected by a mental illness in any given year, and almost half of all Australians will experience a mental illness in their lifetime. The impact of poor mental health touches the lives of all Australians. It could be your partner, your best friend, your children, or it could be you. The first step on the road to recovery starts with you. It starts with showing you care and asking someone how they are, or sharing how you are when someone asks. This year for Mental Health Week, we're asking people who have a lived experience of mental illness, how's your mental health?
Today it's good. Lately it's been pretty good for the last few months and that. But a few months ago it wasn't very good, but it's improved again, so it's good.
This is good. It's good. Comparatively, like from years and years ago when I was really struggling with depression and schizophrenia, no different to anyone else really.
Pretty good because I take medication to get it stable, so I don't have to be angry and getting hysterical all the time.
Gradually getting there with that and lifestyle in it with it.
It's normal part of life, so you just take a bit more care of how you deal with situations,
Right now it's great. I attributed my recovery out of a really dark place with my physical health. My mental health just was, growing with that at the same time.
Really good. So it's been a long journey. But right now I'm the best I've ever been. Getting to know myself, my symptoms, and learning new strategies all the time.
I have noticed that I'm a lot stronger now, compared to last year.
Actually under control. I also go to Penanga with MIFSA and they give you tools to work with.
What does mental health mean to you?
Well, to me, mental health, there can be, you can be having good days and bad days with mental health. So, I think it's just about, managing the best way you can every day, depending on where you're at.
Mental health for me is, good or bad, is the most normal everyday thing, whether you're struggling or you're not, or you're good or you're bad, you're healthy or not. Mental health means it's just part of our lives, part of our daily walk, with whatever state you're in. Good or bad, is power to you. So,
Get out of bed in the morning, that's always a good start. And being able to cope with life, being able to be a mother to my son and a wife to my husband, being able to respond to situations without sort of getting completely overwhelmed or having anxiety and panic attacks, or being able to cope.
Mental health to me is, I consider it to be how we view things, our perception, whether the glass is half full or half empty. Are we an optimist, a realist, or a pessimist? I suppose years ago when I was struggling, I was a very pessimistic person, just due to the way I was travelling. Whereas now with medication and other changes in my life, I'm a realist, and sometimes the glass is sort of half full. So it's that's sort of how I see mental health in a way, is where you're at psychologically, how you're going, good or bad or indifferent.
It means living well. I suppose having a more of a balanced life for me. So it includes eating well, socialising. If you've got a career, having a career, and it's all in balance. If it's more lopsided, then that sort of causes all sorts of grief.
What do you do to optimise your mental health?
To optimise my mental health, I've been exercising lately. I've been doing some more exercise, and that I find that helps. And I think, sometimes it can be hard to get the motivation to get in there and do it. But once I've done some exercise, I do feel better for it.
So really I need structure, so forming some kind of routine. And yeah, exercise I think is so important, and the way you eat and what you eat makes a huge difference. So really just having a bit of routine, but not my problem is I might try and do everything and do way too much. And that's not good for my mental health.
I did have a problem with alcohol. I used to self-medicate with alcohol, and I used to smoke. So just that on its own created a lot of health problems for me. So I wasn't physically able to do a lot of things. So eating well, having a balanced diet, and in fact that was one of the first things that I did on my road to recovery.
And try and keep social. I find if I'm sort of left alone with my thoughts for a long time, I'm someone that experiences schizophrenia now, whereas in the past I was someone that suffered from it, I suppose. So now I do still get voices occasionally, but only here and there, not like it sort of used to be. And often it's when I'm left alone with my thoughts without distractions that I will hear the occasional voice and that sort of thing. Keeping busy is something else that I think is good, yeah.
Spending time with friends, especially friends that understand what I'm going through, because there are a lot of people out there that don't understand mental health. And unfortunately, sometimes that's friends, even family.
People asking, how are you? Are you okay? Where are you at? What can I do for you? Checking in on me, making sure that I'm doing all the things that I can do to help myself, to be the best that I can be within myself and for others. I can't help others unless I'm able to help myself.
What activity, habit, or thing has been most beneficial for your mental health?
That's when my recovery process started, when I started doing DBT. It taught me that letting go releases me to move on. So because I was either living in my past or in fear of the future.
Support. I knew that I needed support because I couldn't do it on my own at home. So yeah, I have to thank Pananga, MIFSA, FAMS, everybody, because I'm doing it all. I'm still doing it. Even though I'm starting to feel better about myself, I'm still doing it.
Being around people that other people have got mental health problems.
Why do you find that helps?
Because you can talk to them, get on with them, and they give you advice on and let you know what their mental health is like and yours, and you can vice versa with them.
I'm going to MISFA, doing activities at MISFA, out there, culture adventure, fishing, and then they do op shopping on school holidays, so that's been pretty good.
And why has this been good?
To get to know other people with mental illness.
Jesus, for me. So I've been a Christian, having faith, that's definitely my number one, yeah.
Well, I take my medication most of the time, and remember to take that, and I try to get enough sleep, so when I get too tired, it's not, and just, do some nice things for myself and stuff, do my crafts and different things.
My family, my son is 10, almost 11 now, and it's been quite a long journey. He's been with me through, a lot, but he's always kept me going, and he's my miracle boy, so he really is. And I've got an amazing husband that I've been married to for 6 years now, and he is like so supportive. So yeah, I'm really blessed to have great support from my family.
One of the things that really worked for me is goal setting, and so initially one little goal, and if the goal was to get out of bed, that was the goal for the day. If it was to have a shower for the day, because you really do neglect your hygiene as well, to get out of bed, to go have a shower, and then you build on that, you actually feel good about yourself. And then the next time, see, even going to places I really sort of struggled with, so I had to do a lot of self-talk, and a lot of, I suppose, what helped me a lot is looking at the positive side of things, which is part of the process, I think, under CBT, where, well, for me it was rephrasing something, but particularly when I had to go somewhere and it was so stressful, you know, my anxiety level was sort of up to here, you know. For normal people, you know, they might be there, you know, and that's their top. You see, for me, I'm up here, so it only takes that much for me to, you know, go berserk. So I'd say to myself, okay, you have to get to this point, just get dressed, and if you can't cope, then you've got dressed, you've made that step. Then, or just get in the car, you know, or start driving there, turn around and come home. So you did, I suppose, baby steps is what you're saying.
How do you start a conversation with someone about mental health?
With a lot of compassion and empathy. I would ask them, I would just be very down to earth, like ask them how they're going, you know, yeah.
Myself, it's simply about weighing up the person. If you think that one question would help, the thing I ask myself is, what if I didn't ask? And what if that resulted in them taking a step further backwards or down, or whatever mentality, whatever sort of imagery you want to use for going to a worse place. So for me, quite often just that, for guys, almost that brash approach of how are you? You know, that looking in the eyes, that really square. Now, if you get this, oh mate, I'm okay. Quite often, no, seriously, how are you? You just seem you don't seem 100%. I would say 99% of the time, it's, oh, well actually, you mentioned it, I'm struggling, you know, this at home or that at work, and that conversation goes, all of a sudden you've had a half an hour conversation, and they've come out the other side sort of somehow feeling better that they've been able to talk about it.
Sometimes we actually make a joke of it. You know, hey, I'm, you know, got mental issues as well. But out in the real world, I don't often tell people, but if people say to me, oh, you know, I suffer a bit of anxiety or whatever, I will give them phone numbers, tell them names, just so that they can get the help as well. And in most cases, I actually keep in contact with them. Yeah.
The easiest thing is just to ask them, are you okay? And when you ask that, to be sincere and be prepared to listen and to be non-judgmental, because so many times, you know, people have all well-meaning, you know, like, how you going? And then the person, you know, says, you know, a few things, oh, you'll be all right, you know, you'll get over that. And, you know, those sort of throwaway comments are really, shut you up quite quickly.
If someone I care about is struggling and I'm concerned about the person, then I'd probably be fairly direct in asking how they're travelling, how they're going, and if they weren't comfortable to talk to me about whatever troubles it was that they might be facing, I suppose I'd try and maybe give them a website address or something along those lines, so they can, like Beyond Blue, or there's different organisations out there, so that they can go and they can sit down and in a place where they're comfortable, and they can and they can find the answers they need without, you know, having that human interaction, I suppose.
You know, because for me, some little thing that happens, it's like, oh God, is that all? You know, but for them and what, you know, their past or what they've gone through, it's such a huge thing for them. I've never experienced what they have, so I just wouldn't know.
Yeah, men in general got to talk more about our problems. And ladies talk, and men struggle to talk, especially here in Australia. We're also tough and knocker. Yeah.
What tip would you offer to someone who's experiencing a mental illness?
Don't give up. So yeah, it's not always easy and it's not always pleasant, but it does get easier and it does get better, and you'll be okay. Just don't give up, because there is plenty of support out there and you have the strength within you to do it.
One thing that I'd really want them to understand is that this is a stage in their life, and not. It's really important that it's very easy to be consumed by the situation and to feel like there's no way out and there's no hope, I suppose.
Get help, get support. Go to your GP and talk to them. They'll put you on to a social worker, psychologist, and you talk to these people, tell them what's going on, don't hide it. I used to hide it, but then I found that, yeah, you can't deal with it on your own. It's something you have to share.
Sometimes that's sort of hard, because mental illness can creep up on you slowly and slowly, because you sort of think you're just going through a hard time, and you start doing things out of character. I sort of think some people, you know, are quite ashamed or sort of something. For me, it was, give me more information, because I react and I do it because this is the only way that I know how to do it. Please tell me another way to react.
I didn't know how loved I was until I had that one person who took me to the GP and got me thinking about it and asked the question. Just to chat to someone you do trust and you do love. I think you could be really surprised about how much people love you when you actually just say, listen, I am struggling. My feet are planted in this thick yucky mud and I can't move.
If you're been put on medication, keep taking it even when you're feeling well, because yeah, that keeps you feeling well. Even though you think you're okay, you still need to take it, and to remember it's nothing wrong with you, it's just the chemical imbalance. It's not you and your personality or anything else.
If you are there, home alone, on your own, you really need to pick up that phone and call somebody, because I haven't, and I've stayed at home, agoraphobia, the whole works. I lost so much time of my life because I isolated myself. But now, I'm here with you today. You know, that's a massive step for me.
What signs should a family member look for if their loved one is experiencing declining mental health?
With myself, isolation was a big one for me. So yeah, just being aware of that. You know, if they're doing things that they wouldn't usually do, that would be a sign as well, if they're doing things out of character.
Well, the symptoms can really vary. For me, it would be like, I'm usually quite like happy and positive, like generally, and have a fair bit of energy. But if I'm starting to feel like really flat and struggling to get out of bed, not wanting to get out of bed, that's definitely a sign. Getting irritable and just being overwhelmed really easily with everything that's going on. So when there's a lot of stresses happening outside, yeah, that is a good time to watch, like, how am I going?
And sometimes it can be those little things that people say, not necessarily same shit, different day, but there's a lot of sort of, it's sometimes just really trying to be attuned to what a person is really meaning when they might just, it might just be sort of a throwaway comment, but to be in, but I suppose if something is said like that seems a little bit out of character, or you sort of trying to process it and you know you're not too sure where they're coming from, then ask, you know, what do you mean by that, you know?
I know myself with depression, crying. I just cried all the time. Anxiety, I never left home. So it sort of depends on what mental illness they're suffering from, because they're all different.
And also, on the other scale, is also when I get really excited and overexcited, and I want to go shopping, and I want to do this and I want to do that, and yeah, I have like lots of awesome ideas, and I want to start this project and start that project, and I'm sort of getting a little bit carried away with things. That's also a sign.
What advice would you give to someone caring for a person with mental illness?
My dad was really good in that he didn't have an attitude like, oh, you know, Nick has a diagnosis of schizophrenia and depression, he'll never amount to anything to lead a productive life. And his attitude was along the lines of, well, when you're ready, well, you know, pretty much like, yeah, when you're ready, mate, you know, like in your own time. If you can just sort of walk that tightrope where you're not patronising and you are understanding, but at the same time sort of instilling belief that, you know, that life goes on.
I guess depending on the person they're caring for, really just to not be non-judgmental, you know, don't judge them. What they're experiencing is very real to them.
So my encouragement to people is, if you're living with someone or you know someone who is struggling, be persistent with them, don't give in with them. You can't see the physical ailment. So therefore, being so hidden, you just have to be persistent. Stick with them, let them know that you're not going anywhere.
Take care of themselves, have time out to themselves so they can keep looking after their own mental health, to help stay on top as well. And if you need help, ask for help. And that's, there's plenty out there for carers as well. There's organisations the carers are saying that will give you help and give you time out and stuff if you need it.
I've questioned myself because I want to be a support worker, a peer support worker, and I've thought the same thing. I would have to learn to switch off, because you can't take that home with you. Otherwise it might actually get you down.
If you or someone you know resonates with what you've heard in this video, it may be time to reach out. Contact your GP or give MIFSA a call on 1800 985 944. Early intervention is key to getting you back onto the road to recovery.